Hi, and welcome to lesson 19 of the B2 course. Today's lesson is a vocabulary lesson, and our topic is going to be the weather. So this is something we really like to talk about in Britain. So there'll be lots of useful things for you to learn today. My name is Stephanie. This is level B2 and lesson 19. So in today's lesson, we are going to identify different types of weather. So we're going to have a look at some vocabulary that's commonly confused. We'll compare different pairs of words and see if you can understand what the different type of weather is. We'll have a look at a weather forecast together. And finally, we will move on to talk about extreme weather and the natural disasters that this can cause. So we have lots to do today. It's a really useful lesson for you. And as always, please make sure you have a notepad or a tablet so that you can record the new vocabulary that we cover today. Okay, let's start with some questions. So, if I asked you, what's the weather like where you are at the moment? Number 2, how would you describe the climate in your country? And number 3, what's your favourite type of weather? So have a think about how you would answer these questions. I live in the south of England, in Bournemouth, and the weather today is very cold. It's winter here, and this morning the temperature was -3. Number 2, how would I describe the climate of England? Well, I would say it's mild. Generally, we don't have extreme heat or extreme cold. We have 4 seasons, so we experience spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And my favourite type of weather, well, my favourite season is autumn. I like the temperature then. I like the fact that the leaves are changing colour. But I do like to live in a country where we have different seasons, so we get to experience hot weather, cold weather, even rainy weather sometimes can be very nice. So these are my answers, but what about you? How would you answer these questions? Okay, let's move on and have a look at a weather forecast together. Okay, so when we say forecast, we mean looking to the future, predicting what's going to happen. So have a look at this slide, which shows a 7-day forecast for an unnamed location. I'm going to ask you 5 questions about this slide. So note down your answers and then we will check together. Okay, number 1. What's the current temperature? Number 2, what's the weather going to be like on Wednesday? Number 3, what's the weather like at the moment? Number 4, which day will be the hottest? And number 5, in your opinion, what day would be best for a picnic? So I'll just run through those again. Number 1, what's the current temperature? Number 2, what's the weather going to be like on Wednesday? Number 3, what's the weather like at the moment? Number 4, which day will be the hottest? And number 5, in your opinion, what day would be best for a picnic? So note down your answers and let's have a look together. Okay, so the current temperature is 25 degrees centigrade. The weather on Wednesday is scattered thunderstorms. Now, this is an interesting word, scattered. Do you know what it means? The verb is to scatter. So scattered means not in one location, but dotted around the country. So something is scattered, it's spread out. So lots of different thunderstorms around the country. The weather at the moment, well, the symbol is mostly cloudy, or alternatively, you could say partly sunny, but it's not one or the other. It's a mix of cloud and sun. Which day will be hottest? Well, actually, there's 2 days, Sunday and Wednesday. And in your opinion, which day would be best for a picnic? Well, I chose Sunday because it's sunshine and the temperature is hot, but it depends on your preference. Maybe you prefer a bit cooler for a picnic. So that's up to you. But definitely not Wednesday, I think. We don't want a picnic with thunderstorms. Okay, so let's move on and have a look at some specific vocabulary. Now, we've got 5 pairs of words here. And do you know what's the difference between these words? Number 1, fog and mist. Number 2, a shower and a downpour. Number 3, thunder and lightning. Number 4, hail and sleet. And number 5, breeze and wind. So I suggest you pause the slide a moment, have a think. Do you know what's the difference between these pairs of words? Now, some of those are quite tricky because they're often connected to the same type of weather, but there are important differences. So let's have a look together. Okay, so the first one we had was fog and mist. Now, the difference here is how thick the cloud is. They're both connected to cloud and visibility, but whereas fog is thick cloud, very dense, mist is much thinner. So, for example, it would be very dangerous to drive in fog. Foggy conditions can be very dangerous, as you can see in the picture here. But mist is something that perhaps is much lighter. You're more likely to see perhaps in the autumn, depending on where you live, in the early morning. Number 2, we had a shower and a downpour. Well, these are both connected to rain. But a shower you can also use for snow. So a short period of rain or snow is a shower, and a downpour is more connected to the volume. So if it's a downpour, it's a high volume of rain in a short time. And you often hear it with the word heavy, a heavy downpour, a lot of rain in a short period of time. Number 3 was thunder and lightning. So well done if you identified these are connected to storms. The difference here is thunder is the noise, it's what you hear, and lightning, as the name suggests, is the light in the sky. So as you can see in the picture here, we have some very dramatic lightning. Number 4 was hail and sleet. Now, hail are small, hard balls of ice that fall from the sky. And again, depending on where you're based, where you're living, you may or may not have experienced hail before. But it's not very pleasant because they are hard balls of ice. Sleet, on the other hand, is a mixture of rain and snow. So it's partly melted snow. So again, not a very nice weather condition. Okay, and our last one was breeze and wind. Okay, so whereas wind is just the descriptive word for a current of air, breeze has a much more positive connotation. It means a light, pleasant wind. Well done if you managed to get some of those correct. If you haven't heard of those words before, good idea to make a note. We're going to do some practice where I'm going to ask you to use these words. Okay, so have a look at the 10 sentences here, the 10 descriptions of the words we've just looked at. Can you remember? So number 1, small hard balls of ice that fall from the sky are. Number 2, thin cloud. Number 3, a sudden loud noise during a storm. Number 4, a lot of rain in a short time. Number 5, a flash of bright light. Number 6, a short period of rain or snow. Number 7, wet, partly melted snow. Number 8, a light, pleasant wind. Number 9, a current of air. And number 10, thick cloud. So pause the slide and see if you can remember what the vocabulary is. How did you do? Did you manage to remember or did you have to look back? Doesn't matter if you did because this is a process of learning. So let's check our answers together. Okay, so number 1, the answer is hail. Number 2, mist. Number 3, the noise is thunder. Number 4, a lot of rain, so it's the volume, it's a downpour. Number 5 is lightning. Number 6, shower. Number 7 is that mixture of rain and snow is sleet. Number 8 is breeze. Number 9 is wind. And number 10 is fog. So really well done if you managed to get some of those correct. Okay, so we've been looking at the description for the word, but what we need to look now is the word in context. So when we're learning vocabulary, it's very important to learn a word in a context because then you can see and understand how it is used. So what we're going to do is have a look at 10 sentences, and for each sentence there are 3 options, so 3 words. Only one is correct. So read the sentence and see if you can identify which one of the 3 words will complete the sentence. Okay, so numbers 1 to 5. Number 1. It's dangerous to drive in the... Number 2. In a storm, you often see... Number 3. I got caught in a heavy today. Number 4. The was so big it damaged cars. Number 5. On a hot day, there is a pleasant from the sea. Number 6. The was so loud during the storm. Number 7. A strong blew over the trees. Number 8. In the morning, you can see a light. Number 9 is rain mixed with snow. And number 10, snow are predicted in the north. So pause the slide and see if you can identify what is the correct word. Which word will complete the sentences? Okay, are you ready to check? Let's have a look at the first 5 together. Okay, so number 1, it's dangerous to drive in the fog. Number 2, in a storm, you often see lightning. Number 3, I got caught in a heavy downpour today. Number 4, the hail was so big it damaged cars. Number 5, on a hot day, there is a pleasant breeze from the sea. Number 6, the thunder was so loud during the storm. Number 7, a strong wind blew over the trees. Number 8, in the early morning, you can see a light mist. Number 9, sleet is rain mixed with snow. And number 10, snow showers are predicted in the north. Really well done if you managed to get those correct. And if there are any new words there for you, see if you can put them in a sentence. See if you can make a sentence using those words. If you do look look words up in a dictionary, it's always useful to look at the example sentence and note that down as well, because that will give you the context. Okay, so the last part of our lesson, we're going to be talking about extreme weather. Okay, so perhaps you live in a country that experiences extreme weather. Unfortunately, with the climate changing nowadays, this is something that's becoming more and more common. So it's something you might read about in a newspaper, online, you might hear on the news, even if you haven't experienced it yourself. Okay, so extreme weather can cause natural disasters. I've given you 3 pictures here to give you some ideas, but what natural disasters can you think of? So have a look at the pictures. What are they showing? And do you know any other kind of natural disaster? Maybe think back to news stories that have happened in the past year. What's been happening globally? So have a think and make a note of any natural disasters that you can think of. Okay, so we'll have a look at some that I've thought of. Maybe they're the same as you, maybe you have some extra ones. But let's have a look at these 8. Do you know what I'm describing? Number 1, what do we call it when a large amount of snow falls down a mountain? Number 2, a severe snowstorm with strong winds. Number 3, a long period with no rain. What do we call this? Number 4, the opposite, too much rain, causing areas to become covered with water. Number 5, a sudden violent movement of the earth. Number 6, a violent storm. Number 7, a short period of intense heat. And number 8, a large wave. Now, do you know what these words are? Pause the slide and see if you can write down any of them. Okay, so I really hope none of you have experienced any of these disasters. It's something that, as I said, is becoming more and more frequent, unfortunately. So it's something you do hear about on the news, and it is a global phenomenon these days. Let's have a look at the answers. Okay, so number 1, a large amount of snow falling down a mountain is called an avalanche. Number 2, a severe snowstorm with strong winds is a blizzard. So very, very heavy snow, making it very difficult to see. Number 3, a long period with no rain is a drought. And the opposite, too much rain, where areas become covered with water, this is a flood. Number 5, sudden violent movement of the earth is an earthquake. So you have a clue there in the word, earth and quake means to move like this, to shake. So that gives you a clue, an earthquake. Number 6, a violent storm is a hurricane. Number 7, a short period of intense heat is a heat wave. And number 9, a large wave is a tsunami. So this is a word that we've borrowed from the Japanese language. It's not an English word, it's a Japanese word, tsunami. Okay, so the next stage, as you know, is to practice these words. So let's have a look at 8 sentences where the word is missing. Can you correctly complete the sentence with the natural disaster? Number 1, due to the local people cannot grow their crops because there has been no rain. Number 2, you are advised to stay in an air-conditioned building and to drink plenty of water. Number 3, that hit the Caribbean killed many people and destroyed many homes. Number 4, if your home is near a river, there is a real danger that it could, if there is too much rain. Number 5, Drivers abandoned their cars as the made it impossible to see. Number 6, the skiers were warned about the real danger of. Number 7, in 2004 and 2011, terrible hit Thailand. And number 8, buildings in Japan are built to withstand. So I'll give you a clue. Each natural disaster is only used once. So if you've put one in 2 places, that's not right. See if you can use each word once to complete the 8 sentences. Okay, how did you find that? Shall we check our answers together? Okay, so number 1, due to the drought, the local people cannot grow their crops because there has been no rain. Number 2, in a heat wave, you are advised to stay in an air-conditioned building and to drink plenty of water. Number 3, the hurricane that hit the Caribbean killed many people and destroyed many homes. Number 4, if your home is near a river, there is a real danger that it could flood if there's too much rain. Number 5, drivers abandoned their cars as the blizzard made it impossible to see. Number 6, the skiers were warned about the real danger of avalanches. Number 7, in 2004 and 2011, terrible tsunamis hit Thailand. And number 8, buildings in Japan are built to withstand earthquakes. So really well done if you got those correct. As I said, unfortunately, this type of issue is very topical and it is a global issue. So it's important to have the right vocabulary to talk about it. So to finish with today, we're going to have a look at 3 discussion questions, all connected with this topic. Okay, number 1. Have you ever experienced extreme weather? Number 2, what type of weather is typical in your country? And number 3, why do you think the weather is changing? It's a big question there to finish. Why do you think the weather is changing? So as I said, these are very topical questions, and if you're studying for an exam such as IELTS, this sort of question is very common, so it's important to have a think how you would answer this question. Okay, so that's the end of lesson 19. Thank you very much for watching, and please join me for lesson 20, which will be a review lesson. Goodbye for now.